Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Miscellaneous Gab. I know it's been a minute, but I've been moving. I'm now in my new office slash recording space. I'm gonna add some plans, but I'm really excited about it. Anyway, I hope you're doing well as well. In between some of my rewatch and ongoing series reviews, I've decided to start some ranking specific videos. I personally love ranking videos. I love watching ranking videos. I love thinking how I would rank certain things or characters. And today I'm going to start off with probably one of my most watched, most read series in the world, which is Harry Potter. And for the purposes of this video, I will be reviewing every movie, ranking every movie from worst to best. I'll be talking about all 8 movies and where they fall in my ranking and why. Now, please remember, this is coming from somebody who is very loyal to the books. So while I do look at movies on how good the movie is in general, I'm also thinking about how well it fits with the book and with the Harry Potter universe. So if you disagree with any of these takes, which I'm sure some of you will, leave your list in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say and why you would rank your list that way. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out my other Harry Potter videos where I talk about biggest plot holes, the new upcoming series, as well as reimagining certain aspects or endings or mysteries of Harry Potter.
Guardian Leviosa.
Now, this should come as no surprise if you've watched my other Harry Potter videos, but I'm gonna start with the worst movie in the bunch. And that movie is very unfortunately Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is the 6th book and the 6th movie. Now, I have an entire video going through exactly why this movie is so awful, and it's really unfortunate because the 6th book is my favorite book, and I really feel like they absolutely butchered the movie. If you look at movie 4 and 5, they were steadily getting darker with PG-13 ratings, which was quite bold and impressive of them, knowing that might cut off a bit of their younger audience. However, whether it was in order to get ratings up or just because they decided to go with a teen romance comedy instead of following the darkest book, this one got a PG rating. I think the biggest issue with this, love and romance was definitely an aspect of this book. It was definitely a B plotline, a subplot. The most important plotline here was the Half-Blood Prince mystery and Harry and Dumbledore's work together, going back into Dumbledore's memory to learn more about Lord Voldemort's past. Because they added love stories that didn't even exist in the book, we didn't even get to see all of the memories that Harry and Dumbledore went into, and the ones that we did see felt more like a montage. They did not feel fully immersive, and it just left the whole movie feeling flat. I do not think they did a great job with the Half-Blood Prince mystery, the reveal, and the darkness that is so present in this book, as well as the consequences of Harry and Dumbledore's work together. So that will remain at the very bottom for me. Go watch my other review if you'd like to see more about that. The second worst one, or I guess number 7 on this list, is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, this does pain me to rank this here. I do have a lot of nostalgia, fondness for the Goblet of Fire. I know a lot of people hate Harry's haircut and Ron's haircut in this movie, but I actually liked it when I was a little girl, when I was at the height of my Daniel Radcliffe crush. And fun fact, I wrote fan mail to him when I was a kid, and I actually got a signed postcard back from him of him and the whole cast underwater when they were practicing for the second task. Because I got that postcard before the film came out, I think this is imprinted in my memory as a great film, one I loved. But as I watch it and look back and learn more about the film, I become more disappointed with the choices. Mike Newell was the director of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He was brought on for this movie specifically, and he could not be bothered to read more than 20 pages of the book. He also was in a competition with the director of movie 3. He really wanted to take this in like a dark Hitchcock direction, but because movie 3 was a little bit darker, he thought, okay, well, I might as well just make it comedic. There were so many weird choices in this movie.
Stop it! Can't you see it's bothering him? Stop it!
And unfortunately, it butchered the many mysteries that were in this book, which is one of my favorite books for the mysteries. Primarily, who put Harry's name in the Goblet of Fire? The reveal that Mad-Eye Moody was Barty Crouch Jr., literally jaw on the floor, one of the best reveals, mysteries, plot twists in the whole series, and they just butchered it. Not only because if you're a careful watcher, because of the tongue stim that they used for Barty Crouch Jr. / Moody, as soon as you go back into the pensive, like, you will know that it's Moody if you're looking very closely at it. They also made Dumbledore really angry in this movie. Now, I don't have to tell you about the most memeable moment.
Harry, did you put your mother name in the goddamn Goblet of Fire, you little piece of I'll you right in your boy. Answer me, Potter. 5 million.
All know in the books it says calmly. Dumbledore is screaming and yelling everywhere. And even Michael Gambon, may he rest in peace, didn't really read the books and study his character very well. And I think this movie is probably where it's most apparent, unfortunately. Also, making Beauxbaton an all-girls school, Durmstrang an all-boys school made literally no sense in the context of the entire magical world. The entrances, the dance performances, the way they changed the tasks even. Unfortunately, I do think it is one of the worst adaptations that is not faithful to the book, the mood, and Harry Potter world in general. However, it still is an enjoyable movie to watch, whereas The Sixth, I just can't even watch it. I hate watching that movie. Number 6 is the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Now, I struggled with where to put this one in relation to the Goblet of Fire. I do think the Goblet of Fire is a little more of an enjoyable movie to watch, but is less true to the books, whereas the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is true to the books, but is not a very enjoyable movie to watch. And that's because it's all just a giant setup. It's pretty boring other than the Ministry of Magic infiltration scene. It's basically a big setup for the end. And this was happening when pretty much all major film franchises were splitting the last book into 2 movies, i.e. Twilight, i.e. The Hunger Games. And I think Harry Potter franchise also fell prey to this. While I understand that the books are large, this wasn't the largest book. I think there was a lot of filler in this first movie. Unless I'm watching them back to back, I find myself never just rewatching Deathly Hallows Part 1. Number 5 is ironically Harry Potter 5, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is a tough one. I have moved it up and down my list over the years. When I first saw the movie in theaters when I was younger, I was so angry that they left out so much from the book. They left out Quidditch. They left out a lot of Grimmauld Place. They used a lot of montages to show Dolores Umbridge's reign at the school rather than what actually happened. There was also that light comedic tone to it that I found in the 6th movie as well that I didn't like. However, the more I watch it, the more I can appreciate it. It's still not my favorite movie. It's right there in the middle of the list. Knowing that Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is the largest books, it is one of my favorite books, but even J.K. Rowling has said that she kind of wished she had shortened it, cut out certain plot lines, certain areas, drag on. There is a lot going on with this book. I do think that they did a good job for this movie. I actually think that some of the things that they changed in this movie ended up paying off. Specifically, they did make Sirius's character a little less depresso and a little more in line with who he had been. I do appreciate why Sirius was so upset and depressed and emo, but I always kind of wondered about that. I always doubted that a little bit. So it was great to see him being that comfort to Harry. I do think the movie does a great job of showcasing how alone Harry feels, the frustration, the anger, not knowing if he's being literally possessed or not, being kind kind of hated, all this propaganda aimed at him. The fifth book, in my opinion, is a lot more about the characters. It's a lot more internal than even external. I actually thought that Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix had one of the weakest reveals or mysteries in it in comparison to the other books. So it's a lot more of that internal, that angst. Things are changing, you're feeling things, you have crushes, you're angry. I think they used montages decently well, even if they were like a little bit cheesy, and even if they did take away from some of those big moments, such as the Inquisitorial Squad finally finding the DA's location and breaking in. That's kind of like, haha, peekaboo, we're here. Overall, like I said, it's in the middle. I don't find myself wanting to watch it as much, but it also doesn't make me mad like it once did, and like Harry Potter 6 does. Number 4 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is the final movie of the bunch. I think they ended it very well. I mean, honestly, I think the book ended the series very well. There were twists and turns that we weren't anticipating. The whole Deathly Hallows plotline kind of came out of nowhere. I do think that it stayed true to the book. I think it did a decent job summing up these characters and their ends for many of them, but then it also didn't do justice to some of the more emotional and heartbreaking moments, such as Tonks and Lupin. We don't even know about the fact that they have a baby, like, isn't as clear in the movie as it is in the books, which kind of takes away from being one of the most tragic and sad deaths. I do even like some of the changes that they made between the book and the movie, such as Harry snapping the Elder Wand in the end instead of returning it to Dumbledore's grave. We're in the top 3 now. So number 3 is ironically book 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, when I was a kid, I was a little too young to read the first books when a lot of people were reading them. When the movies were coming out, I saw the movies before I read book 1 and 2. When the third book was out and they were making the third movie, that was finally when I had permission from my parents to read these books, because they were a little on the darker side and I was still pretty young. 3 holds a special place in my heart because I finally was able to see certain characters manifested from how I read them. People like Sirius Black, Lupin. Book 3 did a great job. It is definitely a tonal shift. You had a new director, a new Dumbledore. There's definitely a little bit of adjustment. It feels more like Halloween. Like, I swear this movie feels more like Halloween than many of the other ones. But I think they handled like the scariness, the uncertainty. Sirius Black, Gary Oldman did such a great job. I loved Remus Lupin. It was like exactly how I pictured him, the Dementors, everything. So just as a direct one-to-one to the book, I think that it did such a fantastic job. And I find myself always opting to either reread or rewatch Prisoner of Azkaban. Number 2 is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone if you're not located in America. This one just has so much rewatch value. It's just where everything began. It is probably the most accurate one-to-one from the book to the movie because it's also the shortest book, so it makes sense. There's a lot less material to work with. I just think this is just one of those timeless movies. All for checking out the show, but I'm just wondering if they'll be able to capture the first magic, Hogwarts, being introduced to everything, the staircases, the castle, the portraits. I feel like they paid so much attention to detail to the actual intricacies of the magic world to help immerse us and introduce us. Whereas in previous movies, it's kind of just a given that the staircases move, so we don't really need to see them move again, or that's not a thing as much, or we don't need to see the portraits. They're also wearing way less Muggle clothing in their day-to-day. The uniforms are more accurate. It also has my favorite Dumbledore. I just find that the rewatch potential of this goes hard. Now, if you've been paying attention, you know that movie 1 is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, this is very interesting because Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is actually one of my least favorite books and my favorite movie, whereas it's flip-flopped. My favorite book is my least favorite movie. I found that the movies did a better job handling the kind of mystery, suspense, the riddle reveal, the Jenny reveal, more so than the book. I think it didn't feel as much of a gotcha or this anticipation, what the monster was, how it was talking to Harry. I think that there were things that the movie was able to do in terms of visual and sound with the whispering of the basilisk that the book just wasn't able to capture. It also ridded itself of some of the fluff that was in the book that wasn't very necessary, such as the Death Day party and everything with Nearly Headless Nick. I just find myself going back and watching this again and again and again. I think everything with Moaning Myrtle to the Polyjuice Potion, it's when the trio are really gelling, really getting into solving the mysteries of Hogwarts. And it's still before things get too dark and shit gets too real. There's still an element of novelty, of childhood, of nostalgia, and also it has my favorite Dumbledore in it. That's my list. Those are my movies ranked. I have looked at other people's rankings and it is all across the board. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have a different comment with a different first and a different last. Do leave your comments below. I love hearing why you thought what you did. If you want me to make any more deep dives on any of these movies in particular, either why they're my favorite or why they're my least favorite, please let me know in the comments. And I'll also be releasing ranking videos for the books as well as the Hunger Games world. Thank you so much to my Waffle Party VIP members on Patreon. We're doing a Westworld rewatch right now. And thank you to all my other Patreon supporters. Head on over to Patreon if you'd like to support. More exclusive content coming that way soon. And I will see you next time. Bye.